What's up, everyone? Welcome. There are a ton of familiar faces here. Some people I work with, some people have maybe been to one of the seminars I've run in the past. I haven't done one in a while. And then a lot of you have no idea, maybe even who I am or who Ben is, or maybe you're here for Dan. But whoever you are and wherever you are, you're all welcome. You're all in the right place. So thanks for being here. I like to, before we even get in, and we'll hear from me. You'll hear from Ben. You'll hear from Dan. I'll talk a little bit about what we're here to do today. Set the intention. Before we do that, though, if y'all could just let me know in the chat, where are you from? I'm really curious to see, how far, expansive have we reached, people. San Diego, Brooklyn in the house. I'm in Brooklyn. Madison, Mexico, Rochester, Utah, Toronto, Las Vegas, Berkeley. Oh,
UK.
anyone out in LA? I hope you're doing good if you're out there. And
Mhm.
really, it's been wild watching on the news. South Africa, what's up?
Wow.
Los Angeles, LA. All right. I'm glad you're safe and got some Wi-Fi. Cool. Holy shit. We got people from all fucking over the place. That is awesome. And then do me another favor. And we got, how many people we got here? All right, we're at 91 people. Very cool.
What?
Let me know, you know what, everyone, let me know in the chat how long you've been tattooing. I'm also very curious to see how many years of tattoo do we have? We got 16, 10, 2, 18. Since 2004, we got
Yeah.
20.
Here's some
A lot
vets
of,
here.
yeah,
Wow.
a lot of decades. Massive
Mm.
amounts of decades. Holy shit. We have like a thousand years of fucking tattooing in one place. That's amazing. Very fucking cool. I just so appreciate the people that show up to these kind of things. Like it says something about you that you're here. You could be doing anything with your day to day, but no, you're here on a Zoom meeting with a whole bunch of tattooers. You're growth oriented. You're motivated. You're hungry to learn. And that's how I am. I'm hungry to learn. I'm constantly seeking knowledge. I constantly like to be the dumbest person in the room, the least experienced person. I like to surround myself, and so it just says that about you all, that that's the kind of person you're here. And I'm sure I could learn a lot from you, but today you're going to be hearing from me, and I'm going to be talking. I'm going to have a conversation. I do, obviously, if you follow me on Instagram, I talk a lot about business and finance. I really want to tie that into something because I'm not going to talk long. We're all talking about 15 minutes or so each, but I want to tie it in a way that you're going to take something really big away from this into your life. And Ben is going to be talking about tuning your most important machine, which is the one that you showed up in your meat sack, your chemical filled meat sack that you inhabit. That is your most important machine. That allows you to use all the other machines. But yeah, we tattooers, we've neglected, a lot of us have. Tattooing is just fucking terrible for your body. I always call, like, tattooing is like the opposite of yoga because you just hold positions that are horrible for your spine for long periods of time. It's like the total opposite of yoga. And so he's going to talk a little bit about that. And Dan, and also I just want to thank Ben for introducing me and Dan, because Ben was like, "Yo, you two need to link up." Dan has been on quite a journey over, I mean, the past decades, obviously, but hearing, what you've been on, going through over the past year, and you're a seeker. You're a seeker of wisdom and knowledge and enlightenment. And you've really shared a lot with me about transmuting those negative energies or weird energies or shadow energies into your superpower. And I love that message. I think everyone here can identify with that. So we're going to do all that. And then I have alluded to a little bit about a retreat that we're all, the three of us, and actually Mike Chambers is going to be joining us for the retreat that's happening at the end of 2025. And we just thought, like, let's do something that everyone can benefit from and everyone would really enjoy. As a way of letting you also know about this, if you're the kind of person in this, you might be interested in the retreat. I will just say this particular retreat, Dan's done these before. and they were amazing. This one's going to be a men's retreat. So anyone men, male identifying, this is for you. There will be other retreats in the future. I promise that will be open to anyone and everyone. But a big part of what Dan's journey has been is exploring like toxic masculinity and positive masculinity and what are examples of that. And I think that's something that whatever you identify as, it impacts your life. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that at the very end for anyone that's interested. And if you just like want to hang out for us talking and you're not interested in coming and hanging out with us in Costa Rica, or you don't know anyone that would be interested in that, maybe you don't have men in your life that would be interested, you can pop off at the end. But either way, we all have some pretty dope stuff for you. We've got some little gifts that we're going to be giving y'all as well. So without further ado, um, yeah, you'll hear from Ben and Dan in just a second. But so here's what I wanted. And did anyone here do the assignment that I sent out in the email? Raise your hand if you did the assignment. Maybe you didn't see it, and maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. And that's totally fine too. I know not everyone checks their emails, but raise your hand if you did the assignment. Very, very cool. The assignment for anyone that doesn't know or didn't see it, and if you didn't, don't worry. I'm going to be giving you something that is going to help you with that, and you didn't miss anything. But the assignment was to just take a moment, take 15 to 20 minutes, and think about your 80-year-old self. The average age in America is somewhere between 79 and 85. So there's like a really good chance, there's a better than average chance that you will be 80 years old at some point in your life. And I like to use that because I like to build my life backwards. I like to think of the end result. I like to think of where do I want to be in the end and then build it from there. And honestly, that's a big reason why I got weirdly obsessed with the world of business and finance and marketing was I just saw that because I had this horrible relationship with money. Was tattooing for the first 5, 6 years full time. I realized I was making like 80 to $100,000 a year tattooing, and I had no money. And I was reliant, I was dependent on this walk-in shop to make a living. And God forbid something happened, I would have no source of income. And I don't know about you, but I really got into tattooing because it symbolized like freedom. Like I can do whatever I want. Raise your hand if that's kind of why one of the reasons at least you're interested in tattooing. You can live your life the way you fucking want. No one can tell you what the fuck to do, and you don't want anyone to tell you what the fuck to do, right? Tattooers generally don't like that. I'm that way. And then I just saw like, okay, but there's this whole money conversation that I'm ignoring. And I'm focusing, I'm pouring all my intention and attention into my craft, into tattooing. It's the most important thing. And I think it's probably important that you do spend a couple years, 5+ years, pouring everything you can into your craft. I think that's how probably the only way to get good at it. But I saw that one of the things that was actually holding me back as a tattoo artist, I had my own studio, a little private studio after 8 years of tattooing, wasn't like obviously I can always grow as an artist, but like I was stressing about taxes, I was stressing about retirement, I was stressing about these things, and I was like, I could be using this energy, this energy to pour it into my art, and I'm worried about money. I'm living tattoo to tattoo, like it doesn't make sense. And that's when something clicked for me. And I it was like this revelation. It was like a moment of clarity where I kind of just realized like I'm gonna be 80 years old. At the very least, I'll probably be 60. Like I don't know anyone else here. I thought I was gonna die by the time I was 25. Like the way I lived my life. Anyone is like, I'm gonna die by the time I'm 25 and I don't have much of a game plan for after that. Yeah. And then I turned 25 and then I turned 26, 27, and then I'm like 30 years old and I'm like, okay, so I'm not dead yet. And I don't know when death is coming. Maybe I will live for a while. Like, wouldn't that be awful if my plan to die at 25 just totally failed and I ended up living to 75 fucking years old? And I felt this sense of like, if I keep putting this off, I'm just that kind of person. Like I will keep focusing on tattooing and I will keep putting off retirement and taxes and saving and organizing. And it will be the big pink elephant in the room that limits me from living that life, that freedom that I'm ultimately after, that I'm seeking. And so that was when I just saw myself. And so the assignment was to write, to journal about your 80-year-old self. And so maybe just whether you did the assignment or not, just take a minute right now and just think about your 80-year-old self. Like imagine like there's this timeline, right, where you want to get deep into the quantum soup, right? Time is a complete illusion. So there's this 80-year-old version of you that actually kind of exists right now in the quantum field. And what do they want their life to be like and look like? And like everything from like the moment you wake up in the morning, your body fucking hurts because you tattooed and sat in uncomfortable positions for way too long. You didn't listen to any of Ben Shaw's advice. Uh, you know, where do you want to live? What do you want that life to look like? Do you want to be forced to trade time for money? Do you want to know like my younger self has really prepared and taken care of me? And I think about like if I sit in that 80-year-old version of myself and I think about how grateful that version of me is for the steps that that younger version of me took to deal with the spreadsheets and look into my taxes. And like I can, if I only have 15 minutes to really impact your life, none of that strategy is going to make a difference. But if I plant a seed in you that helps you have that moment of realization that ultimately like my whole life was different after that. And that's what I want you to get into right now and really just be with like your inner elder. That's what I call it. I call this version of you. It's like you have your inner child. I want you to meet your inner elder and actually get to know them. What are their concerns? What are the things that they're concerned about that maybe you right now are not worried about at all? Like your teeth falling out of your face or whatever health concerns, mobility concerns. Like I want to live my life now and then with as much freedom to live my life as I want. And no matter what your focus is in life, if we don't prioritize the money conversation, right? Money's not the most important thing in the world, but it certainly impacts all of the most important areas of your life. It impacts the most important things in your world. If I don't look at that conversation, that version, that 80-year-old version of me is kind of left feeling like I'm not taking care of them. And so I like to think about the end result. Okay, well, if that's where I need to be, what would I need to be doing in my 50s and 60s? What would I need to be doing in my 40s and 50s and my 30s and 40s and work backwards? And I probably think about my 80-year-old self every single day, multiple times a day. I'm not gonna lie. Like I have a pretty intimate relationship with my 80-year-old self. And so being that this was the intention of this talk was to kind of give you a bit of a hard reset in your mindset, in your perspective going into this year, there are perspectives in our teens that definitely don't serve us in our 20s. And there are perspectives in our 20s that definitely don't serve us in our 30s, and there are definitely, and so forth. So wherever you're at, and whatever age you're at in your life, um, kind of inviting you to like take on, all right, well, maybe the perspective of me in my 80s is actually going to serve me just a little bit now at this point in my life and bringing that, I wanted to plant that seed in you in 2025. Because I don't think there is a more valuable idea, concept, belief that I can offer you, that I can instill in you and plant that seed. And so if you did the assignment, I hope that there was something, valuable or came up out of that. Let me know in the chat, actually, if you did the assignment, just let me know in the chat, like, was there one golden nugget or was there something that you saw? I'd love to just hear from one or two people, like, maybe what's an experience you had or something you saw that really lit up for you, a takeaway from that? Health was the thing for me, and an overarching theme. Yeah, yeah, health is a big one for people. I want to be strong. I want to be capable. I want to be surrounded by good community. Yeah, having a big, community, and not necessarily a big community, but a strong community. I don't have a lot of friends, but I have a small knit group. Financial security, overcome procrastination. If there's anything that puts a fire under my ass to take action and not procrastinate, it's thinking about my 80-year-old self waiting for me to like get my shit together. And so that concept of the inner elder is really what I wanted to offer you all today. Um, and we're going to do a Q&A on stuff in the end after we'll all share. We'll talk a bit about this retreat for anyone interested. But I also want to give you something, and I'm going to drop this in the chat. Um, and I'll email it to you as well if you can't figure out how the chat works or you're struggling with it. But I'm just going to copy a link to it's a lesson from the Artful Dollar program that I lead. I lead a financial coaching lesson. And let me send this to everyone here. Um, so if you hit that link, and again, I'm going to email it to you. So if you're struggling with that, it's going to take you to a document, and that document's got some stuff I wrote, and it has two recordings on it. And one is just an hour-long exercise, and it is one of the most powerful mindset shifts in creating. We're always manifesting, right? You're always manifesting whatever your life is. You're never not manifesting. And I love Bob Marley says, if you're worrying is like praying for shit to happen. And so, whatever thoughts are consuming your mind, for better or worse, end up manifesting in your reality. And so, this exercise, and me and Chloe did a podcast recently talking about like, I always fight the woo woo. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be too, but like, I can't deny that these elements, and if you really get down to like quantum physics, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to quantum physics. Um, like the nature of reality. I can talk strategy till you're blue in the face, but it won't impact your life the way that me altering the way you think about yourself and the world around you will. That will have a bigger long-term impact on your life and moving forward into 2025. So that exercise there is going to where is it? UB ICP Woo. I can't even read what that is. I'm gonna take it's a compliment. I don't know what it is, but thank you. Um, that document, that is one of the most powerful exercises I can offer you. And then there's another one that's just a guided meditation. And I listen to guided meditations pretty much on a daily basis. It's rare that I skip a day. And that's how I start my day off. I plant those seeds that help me think thoughts that serve me for the rest of my day. And so that's one of the best gifts I can offer you all going into 2025. Help you hard reset, reprogram, recalibrate, and yeah, if anyone has questions or anything like that, like I said, we'll hang out towards the end. But that's really the message that I want to share. Create a relationship with your inner elder. Think of your 80-year-old self. Just be with them. Ask them questions. Sometimes I ask my 80-year-old self like advice. Like if I don't know what to do in a situation and I'm like, and there's a hard decision I have to make, I'm just like, what would my 80-year-old self tell me? And it's so easy sometimes to get the answers that I'm looking for when I consult with that version of myself. So I'm gonna meet you there, DL. Thanks, Chloe. So on that note, on taking care of our 80-year-old self, to do that, we have to take care of the version of ourselves now. I'd really love to just hear from Ben Shaw and hear what you have to say. And Ben has a really great presentation and some stuff to talk about and share with us. And you'll all be getting the recording of this. By the way, I know I'm going to get questions about that, so we're going to send you all out the recording in a follow-up email. But Ben, take it.
Thank you, Ryan, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for showing up. This is an amazing thing that you truly care about your self on so many different levels that you come and take a time in your day to do this. And thank you, Ryan, for the amazing tee up. We didn't know what each other was going to talk about, really. And your 80-year-old self will not be in great shape if you bypass some of the stuff I want to share with you today. And I do have visuals because I am an artist and I like to look at pretty pictures. So we're going to talk about our most important tool, which is our bodies. Now we only get one of them, y'all. We can only have one. We can't go to Tatzel. We can't go to Cheyenne. We can't get another one. We're only given this one body. And I mean, how many of you can do a great tattoo with an attitude machine, right? It's not going to work very well. You're going to end up with some crappy looking tattoo work. And this translates into your body as well. And I love it. I was looking at it, I could see there was an Aaron and a Trevor. I saw like Aaron, Trevor, big muscular guy. Aaron, you're in there like using some bands, right? You recognize the value in taking care of your machine because if you don't take care of it, it can affect your career and it can be detrimental. In the first 4 years of tattooing, I truly just focused on tattooing. I did not worry or think about my most important tool, my body. And I'm sure, as Ryan was mentioning, we wake up sometimes with some pains. But what happens if you're in the middle of a tattoo and you're feeling those pains, right? I had gained so much weight on my frame that I got to the point where I was struggling with back and shoulder pain that would allude to like chest pain, right? Where it's so tight in the back that it wraps around to the front. And this would cause things like anxiety, the last thing that a tattooer needs in the middle of a tattoo. Right? The looking forward, right? The tension I would get in my neck would cause knots in the back of my head that would affect the muscle that's over your scalp, causing tension headaches and eye strain. Not good sleep, not exercising, poor diet, right? Those affected my brain, my focus, my energy was trash, and of course, my interaction with my clients suffered from that. And this truly, translated to, affecting my quality of tattoo work. Now, over the past 2 decades, I've made some life changes to develop a healthy body, like an in-tune body that allows me, after 25 years of tattooing, to still get up and still do it, right? Now, each one of us it has their own specific needs and wants and use different tools for different applications. We all don't want to be, doing kickboxing or jujitsu or have a six pack. That's not what it's about. What I'm trying to do today is provide a day in the life of that's going to do things that's going to save you some money, right? It's going to help you improve your sense of well-being, your tattoo habits, improve your energy, vitality, your relationships, and of course your career, but your satisfaction with it. And that doesn't require you to be jacked, but to have a well-tuned machine specifically for you. Now, each and every one of you is going to have individual needs, but the information I'm going to share with you is foundational and solid. So let's run through this day of a tuned-in machine. And the day starts the day before. Now, I can't see so many faces, but you can see meal prep. I'm sure there's some eyes rolling because it's like, man, I don't have to meal prep. But if you build this 15 to 20 minute habit into your day, it's going to benefit you in so many different ways. You're going to make smarter decisions. I know that I have some of my artists here, and I see them on a daily basis poring over the computer, looking at the different menus from different restaurants and how they're going to spend 15 to $20 on some junk food, right? Everything in this picture right here was dollars, right? I'm saving a lot of money here, but I'm also making better decisions and having fuel that's going to be good for tattooing. As you all saw on my first picture, that was for me not counting my calories, right? We eat more calories than we need. We sit on our butts a lot, and we need to mitigate how much we're consuming. And then research shows that we only have so many decisions we can make throughout the day before we start to get into decision making fatigue, where we start to get fuzzy and we make bad decisions. So cut out a decision and just bring your meal. Come on, this is common sense. Sleep is so huge because this is where you heal. This is where you generate. This is where you restore everything and you get ready for the day. And it's so important to get enough sleep. Everyone's a little different. 7, 8 hours varies. But the caveat is this. You need to get enough sleep throughout the week. And let's just say you have a crappy night of sleep, you can make up for it on the back end, right? Don't think about like every night I didn't get enough sleep. If you have some crappy nights, make up for it later in the week, but get enough rest. Switching out your light bulb with a red light bulb is huge. Blue light stimulates the receptors in the back of your ocular cavities, which cause you to feel more alert. It actually secretes hormones to make you feel more alert. That's why you don't want to be looking at your screen, don't be looking at a phone an hour before bed. You want to spend that hour preparing for bed where you're reading or meditating or stretching, which I'm going to show you a little bit later, as you lead up to sleep to help you get into that REM. Research shows that colder temperatures allow us to sleep better. And then I use a noisemaker because it keeps the sound consistent. Everyone needs different things, but you don't want to have a silent room and then bumps that wake you up in the middle of the night. Now, I love that Ryan was really getting into what you think about comes about. And this is, I mean, this isn't getting in the woo-woo. This is just facts. You wake up in the morning, you think about going to the bathroom, you find yourself at the toilet. You wake up and you think about a cup of coffee, where you're going to find yourself at the coffee maker. If you wake up and the first thing you do is grab your cell phone and start looking at your social media drama, you're going to be thinking about social media drama. And that's the last thing you want to be going into your day with. You want to wake up and bring in those positive intentions, just like Ryan was saying. Wake up and have, whether it's a guided meditation, something you've written out in the morning that you wake up and read right away, wake up and put that first thing in your mind so that way you're going out thinking about you're going to crush that tattoo, you're going to make that extra money, you're going to build up that more clientele, whatever it is. But truly wake up with that intention going, and it will set the course of your day in an optimal way. Now, to compound that, you want to do some fasted movement. Now, I'm not saying just fast movement, doing some sort of movement or activity in a fasted state. Meaning you haven't eaten anything, no calories. I do like a little bit of black coffee with some stevia in it, but doing 20 minutes of something, whether it's just calisthenics, running, walking, doing yoga or stretching. What this does is not only get your blood pumping and get your brain ignited, but it ignites that fat burning, getting your metabolism going, which will set its pace throughout the day. And there's nothing more energizing than burning fat, honestly. Now you got to time yourself right. You got to get to work early, right? Now this is compounding stress. Again, I can't see hands, but I know that there's so many people that have had artists in their shop, and I'm not going to point at you if it's you, that show up at the time of your appointment or an hour late, right? I don't care what your client says, they hate that shit, right? It affects the situation. It affects the experience of that tattoo. Don't be rushing there and be stressed out. Get there early, get your area set up, get your tools laid out, your stencils, whatever. Like being there early gets you in the right mindset to make or break the tattoo appointment. Now, as Ryan alluded to, science is it goes beyond woo woo, right? We are energy, right? Our bodies are made out of energy, and we emit an electromagnetic field. Now, each one of us, every screen here, we are similarly tuned because we're human beings, right? We agree on things. And a good analogy is this: if you took two guitars and you tune them the same, and then you put them inches from each other, and then you plucked the G chord, it's going to vibrate to the point where the G chord on the other guitar is going to vibrate because they're similarly tuned. We are as well. And if I go in to work and I'm late, stressed out, I haven't got enough sleep, I'm in a shitty mood, and I'm sitting inches from you, well, that's going to affect your experience. And uh, so many tattoo artists have found that more so than the tattoo quality sometimes. The experience that the client has will be whether or not they tell their friends and family about you. So we want to make our clients love us. So we go in fresh, rejuvenated, ready to give them the best tattoo that they can have. Now, logistics, how to mitigate some of those stress and wear and tear on your body. 20. Every 20 minutes or so, you need to stop and look 20 inches, 20 meters, 20 feet away from yourself, right? Focus on something far away before you go back to your tattoo. And then every hour on the hour, you got to stop and you need to move, right? That negative evil yoga that Ryan talked about, you got to balance it by moving. And right there's a seated figure four stretch. This truly helps my lower back. And of course, staying hydrated is huge. We're, 60 plus percentage water. You need to stay hydrated for that energy. Some other quick tips, depending on your location, you need to get outside and get some fresh air and some sunlight on your body. And then if you followed my advice and you're bringing your meal, you've brought some sort of healthy snack. Fruit is important. I know fruit isn't the most popular, but it's filled with sugar, which is good for energy, but it also has soluble fiber, which means your water will break it down and turn it into a gel-like substance. That will slow down digestion and elongate that sugar lasts in your body versus a candy bar, which, immediate energy and then drop. And when it drops, all those calories go to your fat cells. So again, we want to make sure that we're eating proper energy. And then every single person here is a protein generating machine. That's our body do. We generate protein. So we need the building blocks for proteins, which are amino acids. So instead of grabbing that energy drink or an extra cup of coffee at the end of the day or in the middle of the day, amino acids are a great replacement. I've on my screen, I put up these amino energy drinks. I love these things. They do have a little bit of caffeine, about 100 milligrams of green tea. But other than that, super clean. I think the worst ingredient is sucralose, but a nice afternoon pick-me-up. Now let's talk about making that proper decision. Talk about money, money and calories, right? I use an example of a Big Mac combo from McDonald's. It's a little cheaper, right? You can get that usually under $10, but you're sucking down around 1,200 calories, right? That's sometimes the amount of calories somebody will burn in a day in one meal. Not to mention you're getting saturated fat, sodium, refined carbohydrates. All this stuff is going to get stored into your body's fat sources versus bringing a delicious chicken grilled sandwich with some sweet potato fries, some lemon infused water, right? You're going to get a fraction of those calories and spend a lot less money, but you're giving yourself fuel that's going to give you more energy throughout the tattoo, more focus and such. Now, again, the price variations, like you're saving on this particular example, but Vortex, you're saving about $4, probably more, but you're consuming 500 to 600 calories more with a Big Mac and fries. And the formula is this, y'all. If you eat at least, if it's just 500 calories more than you burn throughout that day on a consistent basis, you're going to gain 1 to 2 pounds a week. And if you compound that over time, I mean, you could see how I got to where I was at the beginning. And they say on average, people miscalculate and eat upwards to 800 plus calories a day. So obviously, by paying attention when we're eating and choosing those healthier choices, it's going to just put us on a better trajectory to be that healthier 80-year-old. And last but not least, we're spent all day curled forward. Our backs are tight, are locked up, our necks leaning forward, our glutes are tight. Every single night, this is a part of my routine. Now, this is only going to be a minute. This is where I use a 2 foot by 4 inch diameter PVC pipe. It's hard, so it really works in those knots. But you could spend as much time as you want at each one of these stretch. But I'm really attacking glutes because they get locked up from sitting for hours and then they don't fire. And then all the pain then goes into your lower back. And again, whoever's suffering with lower back issues, it can be debilitating to your tattoo process. Now, those knots that get stuck between our shoulder blades and underneath our scapula, those things are what really cause a lot of stress from that, just holding that position for hours and hours. And then to avoid any sort of stress and tension headaches, you got to roll out the neck, right? Right where the neck meets the spine, you get knots there, tension headaches over the whole entire skull muscle. And then obviously I do the figure four a lot. Once my PT showed me that thing, it saved my life 100%, made my back 100% better. Now I threw like a shit ton of information at you all because it's a lot. Like everybody's body's different. So I put 2 QR codes. I know that not everybody can make their treat, especially if you don't identify as a male. So if you want to have a quick chat and for 15 minutes, I'm happy to you know, bend my ear, ask some questions. Let's figure out what you need specifically for your diet, your physiological needs for exercise, meditation, whatnot. I'm happy to share. And of course, if you haven't already, check out my social medias. I do put up posts for exercises, stretches, meal plans, and such like that. So I truly want to see all of you, like Aaron, and of course, like Trevor, continuing to focus on tuning your machines because it's the most valuable tool you have. So thank you all so much. Now, if we don't take care of that machine over time, it's going to stay broken. And if we don't take care of this body over a long period of time, it's going to get toxic. and that can lead to things like toxic masculinity. And of course, that's something that Dan really wants to focus on sharing, not only his journey, but some experiences and some pieces that I think you're all going to find some value with. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. And here's Dan.
Um, Thanks everyone for coming to this, and thanks Ryan and Ben. I feel like these guys are pros here.
You
I feel
know,
like I'm like,
Dan, I'm gonna highlight you. I think
yes,
that'll be easier. Boom. There we go.
okay. Um, well, I feel like the headlining act just came on, and now I'm like, okay, here the. Anyways, that was really good. Everything was really good. I really like that, Ben. Um, so I've been on this thing where I started doing these little retreat things, to try to do a little bit more with tattooing and try to bring more to tattooing. Even when I came into tattooing, I kind of made that deal with the universe as I want to come in and I want to be an asset to tattooing. I don't want to take from tattooing. I want to contribute to this because this could be really huge. This would be a big thing. And I feel, if I could come in and do that, that'd be the deal that I make, that I want to come in and make a positive impact. And I was already a machinist before, and I had really good ideas. I wanted to make bicycles before that, and I broke my kneecap riding the bike that I made. First day riding it, recovering from a knee surgery, I broke my kneecap in half, and then had a little hiatus, and then found tattooing. And then into that, at first I did 13 tattoos at home, and then started working at a shop, and then kind of elevated from there. Anyways, and then as I started doing that, I already was making tattoo machines and whatnot. And then the guy I worked under, I kind of got into a place where the guy, I worked under was hey, I'll take you in, and you can work in a real shop. And I said, I'll just scrub your tubes, I'll mop the floors and everything. And I want to put a apprentice on my card. And anyways, he told me, quit fucking with those tattoo machines and just do your thing. So anyways, I quit fucking with tattoo machines for a while. I just got some decent machines and started doing that. But then later I needed something more because tattooing wasn't quite giving me everything I needed for myself. And then that's when I got into my tattoo machines. And I kind of made that same thing. Like, man, I think that I'm not going to create anything unless it's actually needed. I feel like I only want to bring innovation into tattooing. I only want to do this. And then when I did, I felt like all the doors kind of opened for me, and the universe just said, because I was doing the right things for the right reasons. And I feel like within 1 year, I just kind of, things just really took off. And then it got to the point of the thing I created became this monster that started controlling me. And at the peak of where I was making the most money, I became the most like bitter also, because I was so much like I lost sense of who I was. I lost everything, and then it became the monster itself was this thing. And then in the same time I started putting on weight, and then I could afford a lot more, so I could drink the finest bourbons and go out to the nicest steakhouse and do whatever, and then just living off this luxuries and all these things. And then it was almost 2 years ago now. I was like, man, I'm at a crossroads. I'm mid 40s, and at that time I'm a short dude, and I'm 5'6", but at the time I was actually 5'5" because the weight was like pushing me down, and I was weighing up 185, so like way overweight. And for me, where I was used to being, and my belly was hanging over my belt and everything, and I had to just take a pause. Like I realized I was overly consumed in my business, and then I'm stress drinking at night and not doing all that well. So I started taking time to really focus on my personal self. And part of that journey was a lot of what Ben says, eating more cleaner foods. I did a liver detox, and that liver detox is really good because I quit having, I didn't have ketchup on stuff and everything. And then you start learning, like when you're stripped away from your proteins and all these other things, you start learning, like, I don't want coffee right now. I just want a cashew. I just want cashew. Even like a piece of raw salmon would be perfect right now. And then anyways, coming out of that, I was able to start eating food that was very clean without needing a bunch of sauces and butter and everything all over it. And that was good. As I started doing those things, in the midst of all this, my wife unexpectedly passed away. And it was about a year, almost a year to the date that I made the conscious decision to unfuck myself for, to work on this machine rather than the other machine. My other machines I'm really happy with right now. I haven't done a whole lot of stuff with my machines because I'm actually just really I'm content at the moment, and I could bring some other stuff in, but I mean right now I'm just taking a little bit of time for myself and trying to find a more of a work-life balance. Currently, I'm still on a little bit of a sabbatical because my wife handled a lot of my company, and I'm kind of starting over, and it's tough. So I'm relying on stuff that I license, and then be more involved with just working with those people in my circle to kind of help keep the things going. But then I care about this. And now I'm down here in Costa Rica. I do have a place in Costa Rica I like to come down to, and they have a really great wellness center here. And I'm friends with the people there, and start talking. And I was thinking of something, and like on top of all this stuff for my kind of go back on the thing that was taking care of my physical self, part of that was to take care of my mental self. And as artists, like realizing that we are kind of weird, you're not normal. People normally aren't artists, but nobody's really normal if you think about it. A lot of us just would try to blend into society out of comfort, but when I believe that most innovative people, most artistic people, that you're going to feel emotions stronger in like heavier, higher highs and lower lows. And so there's an element of learning how to transmute all those things. And so part of my whole journey with it ties into everything that, with Ben and what Ryan are saying is making sure that all the tools in your toolbox to say all those things that I do to eat and for fitness now are for my mental stability and to have a solid creative practice as well. Anyways, fast forward, I'm talking to the main person at this wellness center, and started saying, you should do a men's retreat thing. Because, here I am also dealing with this trauma, and I'm dealing with it healthy. I wasn't binge drinking and, getting stoned every night. I was actually going to the yoga studio. I was getting massages. I'm doing things. I'm just eating right. And these are these things that were helping me deal with this traumatic thing of losing my wife out of nowhere. And it's a good step. But at the same time, here I am now, like, I have to be the captain of my ship. I have a family. I have 2 kids. They're adults now, but I still got to be a role model, and I still got to be this. So I have to think about how to be this positive masculinity thing. A lot of the time, my wife acted as my parole officer, and I didn't have to really focus on myself as much. She was just gonna crack the whip when I was too far out of line, maybe. And anyways, I'm on this path. I'm not the expert here, but I know how to align myself with the right people. And just in the tattooing, like we have experts coming in. What I'm going to do with that retreat thing, if you're willing to learn about that, I don't want to save that a little bit for later. But anyways, I've been aligning myself with good people such as Ben and Ryan and Mike Chambers, all these people I admire for contributing somehow into tattooing. And those things are good for me, like surrounding myself with better people who are more in line with what I want to be, and also for my 80-year-old self. And also I would say, like, since Ryan spent so much time talking about the 80-year-old self, I also want to make sure that my 8-year-old self is really happy with me too. So it's like we all three got to get along, and it's important that we maintain our youth, because maintaining our youth will keep us to where we're going to be appreciative at our 80-year-old thing. It's like keeping your younger self still happy. So all that said, yeah, and if you're interested in knowing, I am doing a retreat, and I have these wonderful chaperones to come and assist with me, and we're going to be doing it in Costa Rica here in August. And there's a lot of the things that we're kind of talking about with this reset thing that we'll do. And then, we're going to be doing things, be focused on diet, movement, mindfulness. We'll be doing some journaling things, a lot of the creative practice that can help us stay in tune, to keep us going farther. There's something to be said about learning your tools of the trade, learning to understand how your pigments are, understanding how your machine works is very important to me. But then understanding how this machine works. I wish I had the slide to show the comedian with the machine right now. Yeah, I am the machine. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of this stuff like what is positive masculinity, and we start to think, our mentality, our sexuality is one of those things. Our how we are as a good steward to our family and to our friends, and how we can be a good role model. And there's another thing about identifying emotions, and say maybe if you want to say what toxic masculinity could be, masking your emotions, ignoring your emotions, maybe drowning them down with just going to the bars and nefarious things. Or you could say, hey, I have this emotion, I'm not going to ignore the emotion, I'm not trying to squash it or hide it or make fun of it or whatever, because it's not going to go away, but using that emotion as a compass to tell you where to put your focus on yourself with, and to face your emotions and to come at them head on, and to grow with them and identify them and be strong with them. And some of them, it's okay to be vulnerable. Sometimes being, what I'm learning is, being in your divine masculinity is being more well-rounded. It's not just being, oh, that is man, but it's embracing the divine feminine energies as well. So these are things that we're going to be discussing in more detail along the way. And as I'm dealing with other people, like, I feel all of us have something to offer, whether it's on the financial side, on the holistic side. I kind of dabble with all those things, and I want to basically be someone who could put all this together, as I'm on that path myself. And I feel it's very important that we're all taking care of ourselves, and as well as, you think people come to us to get tattooed, they remember that day like it's yesterday. Like I remember, almost every single tattoo, I know where I'm at when I get tattooed. It's important that we are being good stewards to society. In a way, we have more of a voice in society than the average person does. You touch more people, and physically, like, touch and put a mark on them that they remember, and they remember the conversations with you. And I remember the conversations with almost everybody I tattoo as well. So these are things to make sure that if you're in tune with your mind, like, if you want to make a positive impact in the world, you're in a big, you do make an impact in people's lives, not just the mark on them, but sometimes the person comes to get tattooed by you for you. And what we do with our art is what we do to, like, share amongst our friends that are artists. But a lot of people, like, they might not even know what a good tattoo is, but they know what a good person is. They know what a good vibes are, and also attracting better people means that you are as this person, and you align yourself with these people, and more people will come to you for those things. So,
And Dan, can I ask you actually what was the main thing that made you want to do this retreat? And why did you want to do a men's retreat?
the main reason for me was that because I had to put that question out, especially once the rug was pulled out from underneath me, in a way, with my wife unexpectedly passing away. I had to pose that question for myself, like, how do I, how do I attract the right partner in my life, or the right people in my life? How do I be a better steward of my family that I still have? All those things are important to me. The fact that it's a men's retreat is because that's more important right now to me. And there's something to be said too about, for us to grow. There's a lot of these things already out there for females, but you don't hear a lot about men, and you don't hear a lot about positive masculinity, or what's good, how to be a man without being like, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm a man. We shouldn't have to feel that way. And
We hear a lot about toxic masculinity, and I've definitely experienced that heavily
yeah,
in my experiences in the tattoo industry. But yeah, there's not a lot of examples of, well, what is positive masculinity? And I think that's good
right.
for everyone to um, to see. Do you wanna share a little bit about, and maybe I'll ask the audience, like, are you all interested in hearing more about the retreat that we have planned? Because we do have some stuff to share with you if you're all interested. Maybe just let us know in the chat if that's something. And for all the ladies and non whatever binary, wherever you're at on the spectrum of sexuality, like, we want to share this with everyone because maybe you know men in your life that are interested. So wherever you're at, you're all welcome to hang out, and I'll share my screen, Dan, but then you can talk about it. Does that sound good?
All right, yeah, sounds
Let's
good.
do that. All right, give me a second here. You let me know when you want me to share the next slide. So yeah,
So
this is a little presentation we got for you.
yeah, as you can see, it's in this beautiful little beach town, and we'll be in these villas, and there's like a pool and everything. But basically, it's a way to get away and then not have the. It's not like getting together with tattooers and just being a drug and drinking fest and everything. It was like coming together and just we're all. I mean, we're gonna be talking shop, obviously. You know, that's a big part of this that will just happen, but really to get to a place where there's just good vibes everywhere um and with everybody with the intent of I want to come out of this just a little bit more stronger or a little bit more wiser, a little bit more cleaner, a little, everything. And so
And this
again,
is a picture actually of just the grounds. So actually, me and Ben are going out to Costa Rica. Me, Ben, and Mike are all going out to Costa Rica next month. We're going to do our own little mini tiny retreat. But I'm super excited to get out there because this place looks beautiful. Um, this is the retreat, right, Dan? Is that the center of joy?
yes, that is the center of joy there. And then that's me and an ice. Well, one of the things we'll be doing is we'll do an ice bath ceremony. That's been another big thing for me on my for like depression, PTSD. Um, that's been a huge thing for me. That's I've been doing that. I have an ice bath at home. I do it every other day. There's a lot to go into said about just a self discipline to wake up and put yourself in cold water. I mean, there's a lot of health benefits to it, but there's there's the self discipline, the self control that you get from the thing, the clarity under stressful situations. Anyways, we do a ceremony there for the thing. Um, Here we have we'll be on a like during this retreat. I mean, they do have other stuff like really good food that's not like the most cleanest stuff, but as everything for the retreat is going to be around like a liver, like a detox kind of a thing. And so they have a whole thing there. They do the yoga, they do movement. There's the guy that you see in that upper right hand corner of in that little picture there is um, he is the guy who's going to be doing a lot of this like body movement stuff. It's kind of yoga, but also he used to do train MMA fighters and things like that. So there's a lot of things more targeted towards men for these things as far as movement and things go.
Dan, were you saying, I think you said like every day, is that right? We're supposed to be up in the morning working out. It's like a little bit of a boot camp.
Yeah, in a way, there's definitely a fitness part of the thing, but a lot of it is like a beach walk. Like getting kind of grounded, walking at the beach, and then there's some pretty steep hills through the woods, or like the jungle, I guess you could call it the jungle. This is like a little drier area. It's not quite the rainforest here, but some high hike. You can go up on this hike, and there'll be options like say if you're not up to that, there's other things, and then there'll be an option to flap back and forth between maybe you want to do ice bath stuff or whatever. But every day is going to involve body movement
I feel like a,
and
a lot of vacations, I come back feeling like, oh God, I was worse to my body than I normally am, and I
right,
feel like the intention here is to come back feeling cleaner,
cleaner,
feeling
like ready to
lighter,
get back
feeling
to life, not the other way
yeah,
around. Yeah.
yeah. And then we have a whole bunch of I mean, you know more about this than I do, but a lot of professional workshops on everything: meditation, sexuality, breath work, masculinity and vulnerability. Yeah. Anything on that you wanted to share, Dan?
You know, I'll say that when I did my last revival here, it was it was uh, it was pretty awesome. It was a craft revival. So I brought a couple of my friends. I brought Wayne Frederickson. And they kind of talked about needles and stuff. He has a needle company, Unite and Win. My friend Al Boy, who he's known in the Midwest. He has the oldest running shop in St. Louis, but he makes really good pigments. And then I was teaching things about machines. We all came down, but there's this thing about the sound. We did a sound journey, and one of the evenings we all ate together and everything. But before one of the dinners that we had, we did this sound journey where everyone went in for the sound journey. And you can see in the lower right hand corner, everybody's like lays down there, and the guy like sitting there adjusting somebody there. He's an amazing musician. He has his own like band called Congo Tronica. If you can look him up, he's pretty cool shit. But he does these things with the healing bowls and the chimes, but creates this whole like almost psychedelic experience. But what it was is like everybody got kind of tuned to themselves, and we were all kind of like Ben was saying, we all got tuned to the same frequency, and we went out to dinner that night, and it was the most like lucid, cool experience, and everybody's just jiving perfect. And then we went out in the ocean, and there's bioluminescence and shooting stars. It was the craziest night because 20 of us all there for the same purpose, and it's amazing. But I feel like the energy just all around us was just a magical night. So I mean, there's something to that.
I'm heavily looking forward to that. I haven't
Yes.
actually done a sound bath. My wife has, and I always wanted to do one, so I'm super stoked for that. I know one of the reasons Dan reached out to me and Ben put us in touch was because you feel and you were really inspired to bring financial education as a part of this.
Yes.
And so I can talk a little bit about that. And Ben is going to be doing some stuff. Actually, Ben, do you want to just share just a little bit on like what you're going to be leading a seminar? Do you want to share about that?
Sure. As I mentioned in my presentation, I threw a lot of information at everyone. The attendees there are going to all have those unique, specific tools and methods they need to tune their machines. So my goal will be to ensure that everyone walks away with their own personalized way of eating. I mean, going back to the real world, knowing how to eat right, proper exercise, diet, meal plans, meditation. Again, be able to speak to everyone individually, identify all their areas in their lifestyle that could be tuned. So that way, when they're going home, they're ready to attack their career with more, vigor, vitality, energy, and clarity. So it's just about dialing in and tuning the machine for each and every one of them. So that's what I'll be
Yeah,
bringing to the retreat.
the name is kind of just reset revival. I feel like that we want that in every area of life, and that's I'm just personally excited to join and learn from Ben and Dan and Mike. But I'm going to be doing two seminars, and they're going to be longer than my normal like live online seminars that I do. But my goal is like I want to bring the tools, these specific actionable like strategic things you need to do around your finances and around your marketing. Like I want the two seminars I lead to pay for the whole trip. That's my goal, and so that's what I want to bring to it. Is like if you do this, and I'll give you resources that I want to pay for the whole trip just in the maybe I think it's like 5 hours total of workshops that I'm going to be leading. And so you're just being nurtured all the way through, right? From the beginning to the end, we have this whole game plan. Like you show up and you don't have to think about anything else. You just come. Everything is provided for you. The end is going to be for anyone that's interested. There's going to be a shamanic psilocybin jungle walk. So pretty unique experience for anyone looking for that. There's a ceremonial dinner, and then Dan had a really cool idea. Which at first I was like, really? Are we gonna do this? But he's like, no, trust me, it's gonna be good to do like a mini tattoo convention. And I think the idea is that this is a little bit more laid back, but we are going to be a group of tattooers. We're going to want to tattoo each other. We're going to want to maybe tattoo some of the locals, like a way to give back to the local community and just do something fun. Just being
Yeah.
at this place together. Anything about that you wanted to say, Dan?
I was thinking about it. It's more like a tattoo gathering, really. I
Yeah.
feel like after we're all hanging out and we just get recharged. it's gonna be really fun to just do some tattooing. And
And
whether
I
we
don't
be like you
tattoo
said,
often, but I will be tattooing there. You can guarantee
yes,
it.
and whether or not we're like when I did the last time, we were all trading tattoos, and I mean, it wasn't about like I got to get here and make money. You're investing in yourself for the thing, um, for this deal, and then but there are people here who are in the town who are seeing everybody doing stuff, and the vibes are good, and they're, oh my god, like they're going to be doing tattoos, you know, and I think it'd be really fun that in the evenings, creating a flash sheets, you know, and things that we have some fun designs, like, oh, you know, just like pick something and somebody's going to do the thing. We're also going to be doing a catamaran cruise, and it's like a
Yeah, I don't
sunset
think that's on here,
catamaran
but yeah.
deal. Um, but then like basically those last 2 days, uh, it's gonna be fun to just hang out and do the thing, and there'll be other people from the community are gonna want to get tattooed. When I did it last time, everybody who stayed as busy as they wanted to be doing that part of the thing. I'm
I
gonna
just
be
saw
putting
videos
together.
of you, Dan, and a bunch of tattooers tattooing
Oh,
floating dock. Those are the
yeah,
images that I remember.
yeah. We maybe we might be able to do that. I don't know. We'll see.
I want to
Um,
be there. Yeah.
that was but I also had an idea of just going up on a mountaintop, you know, like a big hilltop, and doing something like early in the morning or something, and
Sure.
going out
Yeah.
there with you know, wireless setup and doing some tattoos up on a mountaintop. That might be a little easier. There's some logistical challenges of swimming out with a waterproof bag on a thing, and then you got to put, ah, fuck it,
Either
man. We're just,
way, some tattoos will be done in maybe some not traditional
yes. And I'm going
spaces.
to be talking shop. I'm going to be around. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
I wanted to have, like, you know, and Mike Chambers. Mike's not on this deal, but I really admire Mike as far as somebody who is still crushing it. He was a legend. I mean, he's we're about the same age, but you know, he started younger than I did, and he's had his own journey. And so in a kind of way, and it started more with him as like, here's like somebody else to be a chaperone, you know, like, hey, we're gonna come along, let's do this thing, and at the end we'll do some tattoos and everything. Um, but you know, there's some people that be like, we're all hanging out, and then thing, I feel like we all have something positive, a positive influence to bring, and I want everybody else to come in with the intent of what we can all bring to the table to kind of create another, you know, like radiating this. And this could be tattooing. Tattooing doesn't have to be just a bunch of people blowing coke and going to strip clubs, you know. I mean,
Right.
that's
It's
definitely a part of
a
it, and
whole
I feel like,
other example of
yeah,
what a
you get
group of
older, like,
men
man,
tattooers
you
can
can't
do
exist.
together.
You can't exist. You got to start finding the other things in life that bring you fulfillment rather than just substances and you know, one night stands and things, you know. So
And so
this,
I feel like sorry, not to cut you off, but I think our goal, and we're really wanting everyone to just be left. Like what's the end result after all this process that we want people to go through is we want you to reset physically, mentally, spiritually. Like really, like if you had to send your Sidewinder back to get retuned and it comes back and it's hitting perfectly, this would be the same thing if you were to send your body somewhere to get that full recalibration. Your mind, your body, your spirit, learning new tools, personally, professionally, like treating you as a whole person. And yeah, come home, revitalized, like refreshed, like almost a whole new person. And I think I can definitely use that. I'm super excited to be on that experience. And from what I hear from Dan is like you wanted to invite you're on that journey and you want to just invite other people to be on that journey with you. So I know people are probably also curious about, all right, well, what are the investment options if I wanted to do this? So it is in August, so there is some time. I'll just run through them real quick and I'll give you a link just to have. But obviously, if you have more questions, you can reach out to us. So the investment options for anyone interested, curious, would be it's a 10-day retreat, all included. The total investment is $49.50. So you just get your plane ticket and that, and you're there, and everything else is covered. And we did want to give a little early bird special. So for anyone that puts down a deposit, so you don't have to pay the whole thing up front. I think the deposit is $1,000. But for anyone that does put down a deposit, and we have monthly payment plans that you can set up with Dan, the early bird special would be a total of 44.50, so you'd save $500. And like I said, this payment plan. So I'm gonna drop a link just so that you have the link. Obviously, you don't need to get on it right this second, but if you do, here, actually, let me do this. Let me drop this in the chat. Here's what I would say is if you're thinking about it, you know it's something you want to do. There is also Affirm and Klarna options. Do you need a passport? Yes, you do need a passport to get into Costa Rica from the United States. You don't need a visa and you don't need shots, apparently. I'm going next month, so I'll see Dan there. But here's what I want to say for anyone. And here, let me actually, where's, oh, now we're together. Oh, cool. In when I was talking about like setting that intention, that 80-year-old self, when we commit to something and maybe we don't even fully know how we're going to follow through, but we're committed, the minute you sign up for anything, a program, a retreat, it alters you. It changes your energy, your energetic frequency. And you've all of a sudden set this intention in your future, like, I'm fucking going. I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there. I know I got to work out some things between now and then. Maybe I got to get my passport. Maybe I got to save up a little bit more. But that moment you sign up, like something shifts and changes. So I always tell people when they sign up to work with me, maybe we start working together next month, but it starts the minute you sign up. So I'm gonna drop a chat. Did I drop it in there? I don't know if I did or not. I'm gonna drop it in. There it is. In the chat, if anyone wants to check that out and just go through, it has all the options. The minute you do sign up, you pay a deposit, you'll be prompted to book a call with Dan. So you and Dan will do like a little welcome call and kind of get to know what are your intentions for this. Like set that intention now so that you're not just, okay, waiting to do a thing in August. It's like, no, I've signed up now and I want to start putting some of this stuff into practice between now and then. We'll probably be doing a couple meetups of everyone that is signed up to go between me, Dan, Ben, between now and August. So, if you're looking for support ahead of time, maybe you want to get on some of those physical activities before you go on this retreat to get ready for it. I'm certainly going to be doing that. So we want to support you all the way through. So that's there for anyone interested. And yeah, I'm super stoked to get to enjoy this experience with you all. And Dan, I don't know if you have any other anything else to share, but we're gonna do a Q&A in just a second. If people have general questions, but yeah, just handing off to you, Dan.
So, okay, somebody was just asking about, is there like surf and everything? And yeah, yes, right down the road, if it was me, I would do this deal and then I would maybe get a ticket that you could modify to kind of change your return flight if you need be, or maybe you just plan to stay an extra 5 days and explore some other parts of Costa Rica, like Arenal is the rainforest. It's gorgeous up there, completely different. Or just to go down to there's a Tamarindo is a surf town. A lot of people learn how to surf there. The waves are very easy, but there's good surfers there too doing stuff. And then really close by, all this is within 45 minutes from this town. But there's also Playa Grande, which is more advanced surfing. Everything is there. If you're into surfing, there is that.
But it doesn't sound like are we surfing actually during the retreat? No,
No,
yeah.
not during the retreat, but I mean, that's why I say.
But Dan's inviting you to stay with him after. No.
Yeah, just kind of like just crash it on my couch. I mean, I think I could fit 20 people side by side in the living room, maybe. Just kidding.
Yeah. Cool. Well, here's what I want to also just get back to, like the intention of this whole thing. If you're here still, whatever your thoughts are on the retreat, like obviously you have questions, but what's one takeaway from this whole thing today, from the talk, from me, from Ben, from Dan? What's one golden nugget that you're taking away from this? And again, this is regardless, the retreat's just an added bonus thing for anyone who's interested, but I'd love to hear in the chat. Just let me know in the chat, what's your favorite golden nugget that you're taking away from the talk today? Getting to know my inner elder. Yeah. Bettering our 80-year-old self. I need a vacation. Body health. I know. I'm like, damn, Ben got to me. I'm like, huh, meal prep. It would be so easy if I just did that. Then I wouldn't have to eat that 11 p.m. burrito. Um, Getting back into a routine, live longer, healthier. Marketing seminar? Question mark. We're going to be doing one in Costa Rica for sure. So definitely that's the goal. Is like I want the two seminars that I lead, the investment you make in the whole thing, consider it a cherry on top. Like you'll make your money back just from doing the marketing and finance seminars that we're going to lead there. So that's I want this. And the other thing, this is a tax write-off. Like this is continuing
Mhm.
education in the eyes of the IRS. So if you consider how much money you save on your taxes, knock another 30% off.
I say I like the Trevor put in the transfer of energy with a client. That is so huge. I mean, that interaction with your client will make or break. I had the opportunity to listen to Guy Atchison speak once, and he was talking about walking up to a client and complimenting this client's tattoo. Now, Guy Atchison's walking up and complimenting this tat, and the client was like, "Man, it's all right. Joe Schmo. He was kind of a dick." And I mean that says something a lot that the energy of that transfer between that client and that tattoo artist was to the point where a master can look at tattoo work and appreciate it, but the client doesn't. So it's so important that you clean that field so that way when you're engaging with your clients, it's going to lead to a strong connection. And right nowadays, it's all about retention and keeping those clients. So I'm glad you were able to pull that out of there, Trevor.
Yeah, the metaphor you made, the analogy, metaphor, whatever, about the G string, like I get into all the electromagnetic fields and all that stuff in some of my courses, but I never actually thought about it like that. And that your particular frequency is literally strumming the people around you. We are all attuned to the same frequency. So,
Mhm, mhm.
cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that everyone is taking something away from this conversation. Even if I saw some people are like, this sounds like our normal conversation at the shop. Like, great.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah,
Sounds like you got a pretty good shop. That's good.
Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
And so, if any update on the BOI, I don't think you need to worry about it. But if anyone just has general questions for me, for Ben, for Dan, just feel free to reach out. We want to be available and just shoot us a DM. And if you found this experience valuable, share about it. Tell other people about it. We wanted to make a positive impact, whether or not you come with us to Costa Rica, and we'll probably be doing more stuff like this in the future and just spreading positivity no matter what. Like that's how we all live. So,
Definitely, yeah.
any last words, Dan?
I was gonna say, there's stuff like, what about the ladies and everything? And after this one, I felt for where I was at when I needed to do this, it was important that it was a men's retreat type scenario. That was for me for this one, that was important. But moving forward, I want to do more co-ed type things, and I want to put also more focus into tapping into our better creative self and more creative practice. That'll be things that we'll be tapping into on this thing, but trying to stay more focused on the stuff is just being a solid dude, right? I mean, there's something to be said about that, and and having that support around you to be that better version of yourself. To me, on this round is the focus. But I also prefer a more inclusive type of a deal, and definitely want that for the next thing we put on.
Yeah. And someone said, whatever I offer, Ben offers, like we obviously offer for everyone. This retreat will be that. But yeah, stay tuned if you have questions or need anything. Any other questions before we go? I mean, I've got a little bit of time to hang out too. But I really appreciate you all just showing up for yourself, for your friends, for your family. And maybe this is retreat isn't something that you're looking to do, but you know someone, so feel free to share it. We're going to share more stuff about it, but this was kind of us wanting to give you a little sneak peek on it. So, um, awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, everyone, have a wonderful coming back to tattooing after major. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't have experience with coming back to tattooing after major surgery. but maybe Ben might be the good person to talk to you about that.
I broke my back.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I broke my back riding my mountain bike maybe 7 years ago. And while it was a month, and I mean, it wasn't like a broken back and I'm paralyzed. It was I fractured a vertebrae and I had to wear this like gnarly, this big old brace thing. And I honestly, by doing so, I was focused on my posture, just like hold my body up straight and do all the things. And I mean, I was like, the show must go on. I think 2 weeks after I went into tattooing, but I felt like having the injury and then still tattooing, knowing that I just had to be even more mindful of my posture to be like upright and doing these stuff was actually beneficial for me. And then to actually appreciate my posture that much more and to be like, I cannot have continual back problems. So I need to focus on my back that much more. I've also torn both ACLs and broken my kneecap and having to know basically like you can't put off the physical therapy. On my second one, I broke my kneecap. That was a really tough one for me. And I wasn't tattooing yet, but my broken kneecap got me into tattooing. And it was turning, and it was like, there's a funny thing is kind of going back to this thing is a transmuting of this thing that defeated me. I always want to make my own bicycles. I made my own BMX bike. I made the frame, I made the stem, I made all this stuff. I was going to make innovative BMX bikes, 20-inch freestyle BMX bikes. And then the first day riding after recovering from a surgery, I didn't tend to the recovery as much because I was already in the machine shop and I was like super stoked. I'm like making stuff. And I disregarded my physical therapy. And on my second ACL, broke my kneecap and I'd been on painkillers now for I was almost on painkillers for a year. And that kind of fucked me up. But that broken kneecap said, I have to do something else. And that kick-started me into tattooing, which one of the best things I ever did in my life is the best thing I ever did for myself. So that tragedy, that trauma of that thing led to one of the greatest victories that I've had. And then to fast forward now, when I have traumatic things like my wife passing, that sucks. And the first time I had something traumatic, like, yeah, like it wasn't my wife dying when I broke my kneecap, but that's a part of my body, part of my mobility, part of what my future I thought was going to be. And that was gone. And I had to, you have to learn to move on. You have to like learn how to let go in a positive way. And I didn't handle that the best way. I turned to drugs and alcohol and other nefarious things, so in my first rodeo with that, I'm like the full version 2.0 now, walking into the unknown, a little bit smarter about the unknown. So
Yeah. Well, seems like there aren't many other questions, but again, yeah, thank you all. Thank you for coming. And we'll probably plan some other fun stuff in the future. And just leave tattooing better than we found it, right? That's the goal. So I like that, Ben. All right, everyone. Yeah, if anyone's interested in talking to me about other marketing stuff, just shoot me a DM, and we can chat. And have a wonderful day. Be well. Take
yeah,
care.
thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Later.